Hi everybody, welcome to Stamping with Melva. I'm Melva Peters and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in British Columbia, Canada. And you can find me online at stampingwithmelva.com. It's Tuesday night and I'm here with a sketch challenge for you. So every Tuesday night I jump on and do a sketch for you. And in about half an hour, so 7 o'clock Pacific, the sketch will post on Facebook and on Instagram. Yay, Betty, you made it. So that if you miss any of the measurements as I'm going through, you can go there and find the sketch. And the link to all of those is underneath this video. So hopefully you'll like the sketch. I kind of had it in mind that I was using, and I am going to use the Beautiful Balloons bundle when I created this sketch. I just love the designer series paper, so I thought I'd make it kind of the star of the show. So let's switch over and I'll show you the sketch. All right. So there's lots of things you could do with this sketch. I had it in my mind to use kind of a fairly big piece of designer series paper and then have a smaller piece behind it. So it's a great way to use up designer series paper. Hi, Melanie, welcome. Especially this month, that's designer series paper is on sale at 15% off, at least select ones. So the one I'm showing tonight is one of those that is on for 15% off. So your card base is 5.5 by 8.5 or 4.25 by 11. I think I'm using 4.25 by 11. Yes, I am. Then you've got the blue layer is 4 inches by 5.25. And there's lots you could do with that. You could leave it just kind of plain cardstock. You could emboss it. You could put more designer series paper behind it if you wanted to. You've got a little strip, this green strip that is 1/4 inch by 5.25. This big piece here is 2 inches by 5.25. And then the orange piece, which is just slightly shorter, so it's 2 inches by 4.75, is going to be tucked in behind. Something shape-wise, I put a 2 by 2. I'm using the balloons from the Beautiful Balloons. So you could put whatever you want there. And then your sentiment, I said 3/4 inch by 2 inches, whatever fits for your whatever stamp set you're using. That's kind of what the size you need. Okay, so let's show you. So this is the Beautiful Balloons bundle. I've used this before, so many of you have seen this. I'm going to cut a couple of balloons out at least, I think. So use probably the, excuse me, the large balloon and the medium balloon. But this fringe I've used. I love, love, love this fringe. Oh, my air conditioner just kicked in. It must be warm. This one I've used cuts out kind of a bunch of balloons. There's a tag. There's stars, there's other, different sizes of balloons, there's tassels, all sorts of things with this. It's really fun stamp set. And it isn't, some people think that balloons are just for kids, but they really aren't. Hey, Nancy. And then the stamp set, of course, you've got, now these images are 85%, so they look much smaller, but these are the stamps that fit into the dies. So you've got a garland. I love this one that says, "Let's get our celebration on," kind of goes right over top. Okay, so that's the stamp set, the dies. Now, let me show you what I'm going to use. So I am, excuse me, I'm using Blueberry Bushel. When this was originally out, this was not one of my favorite colors, but I'm really liking this blue. I'm not sure why I didn't really like it when it was an in color before, but I'm really loving it now. So I have cut mine 4.25 by 11 and scored it at 5.5. So we'll fold into the mountain or the raised line and give it a good burnish. Now I have, let's see, here's my pieces. I've got a piece of basic white. I'm going to emboss this. Maybe. If I can find my embossing folder, I'm going to emboss this. There it is. So this is the crosshatch. I'm not sure you can see that. There we go. Crosshatch embossing folder. This is one of the 3 embossing folders that you get when you order the Basics 3D embossing folders that are part of the online exclusives. So I'm going to emboss this. Bring in my Stamp and Cut and Emboss. This is a 3D embossing folder, so you just need platform number 1 and platform number 4. So we will run this through. You could leave it plain. You could do some very subtle stamping on behind it or on it to be the background, or you could use designer series paper. Lots of ways you could kind of fill in that background, but I thought I would just use the white and then do some embossing. So it's just a really pretty subtle background. Okay, so now my piece is, I'm gonna find my sketch to make sure I don't go off track here. All right, so I've got this piece of the stars. This is the designer series paper. It's 6 by 6. And one side of this one is kind of a ombre effect in blueberry bushel, but I'm going to use the stars. And I cut a piece of lemon lolly. I love this paper because it's actually got a lot of the new in colors and the new and returning color refresh colors. So I've got my stars, and then I cut a piece. So this is the background piece. So I'm going to use this piece that is blueberry bushel, and I'm going to put this kind of in behind like that. I saved this extra piece. I'm actually going to stamp and cut out one of the balloons on the designer series paper, but let's get these pieces adhered first. I seem to have misplaced. Oh, you know, I leave my lid off my glue and it gets clogged up. Oh my goodness. All right, let's find a different glue. Hopefully this one's not clogged. I'm really bad about leaving glue off. Don't do that. These are leftovers from an event I had, and I think they've all kind of been sitting for a while. The other thing that's good is to leave your, my goodness. Okay. Now I got a brand new one. This one should be much better. If you have a little container, now I've got a little box I made years ago. Keep your glue downwards, and then it will always be in the little tip. I'm going to have to work on, oh, and then I get a whole bunch of glue. That's the downside of the big brand new ones. I'm going to try and kind of pick up some of this glue and spread it around so I don't get it splodging out all over. All right. So I'm going to put this, maybe 1/4 of an inch from the edge. And it's the same length as my piece of basic white that I've embossed. Ink or glue on my fingers. Yeah. Okay. All right. So then I'm going to take and adhere this piece. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to adhere my piece of berry bushel. And this one will kind of go like that. And then we can adhere the stars over top. Butt up against that, like that. All right, I'm not going to glue this on quite yet because I think I'm going to put some ribbon around, but let's do some stamping with the balloons. I'm going to stamp in berry bushel on this berry bushel. All right. So I'm going to use the big balloon, and I hope it fits. Will it fit? Ooh, just perfect. Okay, I'm going to stamp it here like that. Oof, that didn't stamp very well. Ooh, hopefully I have room. I have room for one more. Hopefully that stamps better. There we go. Okay, got the berry blueberry bushel stamp. Now I'm going to clean off my yes, now it will blob, and it did, Betty. It did blob. Oh, I can't win. I'm going to have to kind of clean up all of these glue. I wanted to use them. I had an event, and we had about six or seven open for the event. And so that's what these are, is the leftovers from the event, but they've kind of been sitting here for a while. All right, clean that off. So now I'm going to stamp. Hopefully it's cleaned off, yeah. I'm going to stamp one in Lemon Lolly. Oh, I was going to actually stamp the smaller one. All right, let's stamp the smaller one in Lemon Lolly. There we go. Oh my goodness, that one wasn't cleaned off. You know, I have a bad habit. Not only do I have a bad habit of keeping my glue lid off, I have a bad habit of not cleaning my ink, my stamps very well. So let's try this again. That's better. Gosh. Okay. Now, there is a, don't think this is going to show up very well, but this one will, maybe, if I do it in blue, this one. I'm going to put some little blueberry bushel dots on my, well, they're not dots, they're actually confetti. So I'm going to put these on my balloon just to give it, there we go. Oops. Probably need one there. There we go. Got some confetti. No, he didn't. I'm not even sure he came up here. He may have come up here, Betty, but he didn't clean it. I can be sure of that because I did kind of have to clean it when I got home. All right, so I've got my big balloon. I might have to do some trimming. And I've got my little balloon. Let's see. Yeah, those are the ones I'm going to use. All right, let me get my machine. My plates. All right. One on the little balloon. And two and the big balloon. That cuts out okay. I really jipping I might have to kind of trim that a little bit because there wasn't much room. And if it's cut off too much, I may change my mind and do two of the Lemon Lolly balloons. We'll see. I was just trying to use up that scrap. Okay, so there's my little balloon. What does this look like? Oh, not too bad. All right, we'll make that one work. Okay. I don't like to have designer series paper go to waste, which is why I was trying to Swiss one. It's got a little bit of a snip out of it where I just could kind of round that off. You can always make things work. There we go. All right, that's, you know, rounded that off a little bit more. Okay, so we've got this on. We're going to put this and that like that. We'll put these on with dimensionals. We'll use up our piece of dimensional or package of dimensionals. It always feels so satisfying when I've used up a package of dimensionals. I'm not sure why. Okay, so we'll put that on like that. Dimensionals on this one as well. It's handmade, that's true. There we go. We'll just kind of put it up, oops, like that. Okay, now I have this ribbon. This is the sheer ribbon combo pack. It comes in 3 colors. It's got Bubble Bath and Azure Afternoon and Lemon Lolly. So I think I'm going to use the Lemon Lolly one. Although there is both of those colors in the paper, so I could use any of the ribbons, but I'm going to use the lemon one. I haven't used it yet. There we go. And I'm going to just hopefully, she says, tie a little bow. This ribbon tie is really lovely. It's not too thick, and you can make very lovely little bows with it. Just going to try and, there we go. It's got a little bit of a silver trim, silver edge to it. It's really pretty. All right, so how am I going to do that? Can I get 2 bows? Maybe if I move this up a little bit. Can I move it up a little bit? Not really. Oh, maybe. Okay, let's try and move this up a little bit so that I can, there we go. All right, so maybe I can put 1 bow there, and maybe I can use the pink. Like I said, there's so many colors in this ribbon that you can do all sorts of things. I love this yellow too, Peg. It's just so pretty. We haven't had a really soft, I mean, we had So Saffron, I guess we had So Saffron. We still have So Saffron, I guess, do we? Or no, I think we still have it. I don't remember. But it's just not quite the right yellow for some things. Okay, so let's use glue dots to put these ribbons on the balloons. There's one on there. Ooh, I've got the biggest ribbon on the smallest balloon. Let's see if we can make this just a bit smaller. There we go. It's a little bit smaller. And I'll trim those a little bit. Like that. Okay. So now I've got a bow on each of the balloons. Like that. Now we can put this on. After I opened so many bottles of glue, I couldn't find the one for a minute. Yeah, we really did need a more pastel yellow, which is lovely. Okay. So there, we've got that. Now, the only thing left is, well, 2 things left. We need sentiment. And we need, I'm trying to find my little pieces here. Okay, here, there we go. So we need a sentiment and we need the inside of the card. So here's my piece for the sentiment, and I'm going to use Blueberry Bushel. And I am going to use the stamp set that says, I think it's time for a celebration. So this will be bigger than the 2 inches that I suggested. So like I said, just figure out what you need for the sentiment you want to use, and then cut your paper accordingly. Okay, and then while we have this out, let's stamp this. I'm going to stamp off. Just put that in the inside of the card so I have something on the inside of the card. Okay, now, where are my dimensionals? Here's some. I'm going to stagger this. It's 3/4 of an inch wide, so I like to stagger my dimensionals so that it doesn't wobble. Let's get this piece that's thinner. There we go. It can come off. There we go. Hi Louise, welcome. Okay, so let's do this one. I over here, And then I pulled out, now these are the solid gems. They've come back into stock, which is great. So I'm going to use, they come in, I think it is Balmy Blue, Copper Clay, and Lemon Lolly. So let's use some of the Lemon Lolly ones. Come in 3 sizes. There we go. And then we will glue the inside of the card. Like I said, I'm just loving this blue. Let's put my lid back on my glue before we forget again. I'm loving this blueberry bushel ink. So there we go. There is my card based on this sketch. So it's pretty true to this sketch. So if you're interested in any of the supplies for this card, the links are underneath my blog. Do you want to make the card? Thanks, Betty. And don't forget that the Designer Series paper is on 15% off through the end of July. I'm having a special on if you purchase 3 packages of Designer Series paper through my online store. I will send you an exclusive tutorial with some projects that you can use for your Designer Series paper. So don't forget, it's a great deal. 15% off on Designer Series paper is always a great deal. All right, everybody, thanks for joining me. Now, I will be live again tomorrow night I'm going to be a little earlier. Normally, I'm trying to do it at 6:30, both Tuesday and Wednesday, but I'll be a little earlier, probably around 5 o'clock tomorrow with a technique. I'm going to do a fancy fold card. So join me at 5 o'clock Pacific tomorrow for a fancy fold. All right, everybody, hope you have a great evening. Happy stamping.